Okay, so number 9, as far as the
Oh,
benefits.
I wasn't going through numbering them. Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry
This is
about
number
that.
9. Is improved sleep.
Okay.
And I think, like you said, it really kind of makes sense. But how does it work to have improved sleep? I think it's 2 reasons. You know how, like, a lot of times we can't sleep because our cells are basically stressed, a little bit of anxiety, the frequency, right, what they're vibrating at isn't clean, and so we just are a little off, so it's hard to sleep,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that's one way. The other is that our body, as the day ends and the sun starts to go down during that cycle, our circadian cycle, is in our brain. Our body's supposed to switch over and start making more melatonin. It gets rid of the caffeine,
I
and
see
you
where you're
start
going.
making more melatonin. And if those receptors aren't clean and able to transfer right over to start getting rid of the energy and to calm down, then we have issues. So cleansing is really great for that. It allows those receptors to work quicker and more efficiently.
And then a sharper mind is number 10.
Boom.
Boom.
So let's think about sharper mind. Like, I think a lot of people live in that place thinking they're fine, not realizing um, what a clear mind and that
Okay,
is.
I think that can be true, and I think there are some people that probably suffer like that. But I also believe that since COVID, many people are like, "Man, I'm not as quick as I used to be."
Mhm.
So that brain fog that
Yeah.
kind of came with the whole pandemic. I think a lot of people are kind of stuck in that, and they're like, "I know it's there. I just got to get through this
Yeah.
like brain fog thing."
They can't
So,
get that dollar. You can be faster than that. So basically, the deal is with
wow,
that
your
is a
mind is so sharp.
sharp bam. This is right there,
I don't
wasn't
know
I?
how that had anything to do with this, but okay.
Because how quick, and how much you react. And really, that's what it's about, too, honestly, is that your reactions and your ability to think clearly, to be witty, if you would, right, to be able to know what's up is really important. And so, brain fog, like you talked about, memory issues, mental clarity, focus, all of that has a lot to do with your toxin level in the body. When you detoxify, things become clearer because out of all the organs in the body, the only one that has a barrier before it, in other words, there's an extra path that has to happen for nutrients, is the brain,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And once I knew that and understood that from you, that helped me so much with understanding the importance of essential fatty acids.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And so the blood-brain barrier is what we're talking about. So cleansing the body improves that blood-brain barrier so those fatty acids can go across and do
Yeah.
their thing. So those were the benefits. We hope that we laid that out in a way to make you realize, hey, I really do need to cleanse the body more because you might have some of those problems, or you're like, I really want some of those benefits.
Yeah. I mean, let's like reverse it really quickly. So, do you suffer with foggy brain? Do you have interrupted sleep? Do you have skin issues? Are you moody? Do you have mood swings throughout the day? Careful. Do you have cravings? Or do you get sick a lot? Do you suffer with indigestion, some digestive problems? How about your joints? Do your joints hurt? Are you lacking energy? Do you feel tired throughout the day? And then, are you dealing with some issues trying to lose weight?
Well, that's a great way to look at it from the verse of that. So, whatever it is in those areas that you want to have improvement in them or you suffer from any of those, we need to cleanse. And again, to kind of lay the foundation, because we need to get into it right now, like what's causing the problem
Yeah.
and
What's
that.
different?
But it's important for us to understand that our bodies were built to be created to be cleansing machines, but we're overriding that. And we'll talk about right now the very specific things that are making it so much tougher now for the body to cleanse and to keep up with things that a decade ago wasn't as prevalent. In other words, we didn't accumulate as many toxins as we do now.
Accumulate.
Accumulate.
Nope, accumulate.
Accum-
Okay, so food in America. That one is big. And we noticed a lot of that as we traveled this past summer into Europe and noticed cleaner ingredients in foods.
Absolutely, and notice the cleaner ingredients, but also notice yourself. I mean, that's when Hilary competed at the World Championships, and a few of our friends were with us, and the normal pasta, pizza afterwards type thing didn't create as much
Yeah, you
of
didn't feel
the
as
tired
sick.
and
Yeah.
sick, and even weight gain for the amount of calories I
Actually
saw that
very.
was consumed. And so, but a lot of it has to
True.
do with the chemicals that are not allowed in Europe and other places in the world that are allowed in America, which is mind blowing to me. But it kind of comes back down to my soapbox, and that is that the pharmaceutical companies that are in America for the most part make the chemicals that go in the foods, the dyes, and those types of things, and get profit from them. And they lobby and work hard to make it so that we don't pass laws, even though the research shows they're extremely damaging to the body. They make sure that those laws don't go into place in America. And so now we have not just access, but every day we're consuming these chemicals that is
So
nuts. It's not even allowed in other countries.
yeah, and what's so frightening, what's so scary is the thought that we are getting them. So we're getting them when we're, within our mother's stomachs, first of all, because that's what the majority of people eat. But not only that, from the second we're born and the second that we can start chewing food, a lot of children are just inundated with the dyes and the chemicals and all of that. And not because their parents are trying to do anything wrong, just because it's, you know, normal thinking, you wouldn't think, somebody's trying to harm your
Exactly.
child or, but
And that's the thing is we're not trying to cause damage to our body, or in the case of a mother, but they're in all the foods and so prevalent that it's just there. And there's specific names in the literature now for a lot of these chemicals.
Okay, so why don't you, so food in America, number 2 is the endocrine disruptors. You're going to go through those.
Yeah, so endocrine, basically, like you were saying, just means
Your hormone, yeah.
your hormones, right? So think of it simply as hormones in the body and that balance and the disruptors to your hormones, endocrine disruptors. And so these are things that we come across, chemicals and that disrupt our hormonal system, and in doing so it causes us to have anxiety, it causes us to have mood swings, it causes us to have the weight gain, it causes us to really go through a lot of conditions in the body that we don't need to be going through at the time. In other words, going through menopause earlier, actually losing testosterone faster than we should. All of these
girls
things.
starting their cycles
Oh,
earlier.
yes, absolutely. And so endocrine disruptors are a big reason why we need to detoxify, because again, they're so much more prevalent now. So let's go through some of them,
Okay, so plastics.
right?
Um,
So plastics, so BPA, all of these things, these chemicals that we know about are in plastics. It's leaching into the water and the foods. Those are the big problems. So plastics are a huge
plastics
deal.
in general, or is it? Can you get plastics that don't cause issue?
So yes. So it used to be that when we first discovered this, right? We first like, oh crap, there's things in plastic that are bad for us. It was mainly BPA, and we these major chemicals, and we're like, okay, so then you can buy BPA free, and that plastic cups and things like that. And now we learned that there's more chemicals, and so now they're having to come out and try to make the plastics so that they are free of those. So the bottom line is plastics are tough. I mean, that's why
You're better off going with glass.
better off going glass. And again, these aren't things to be like, oh, I've got to go live in a box type thing. No, we need to make choices when we can, be knowledgeable about this, be educated like we're working with right now, and just do the best you can. There's times when I have a plastic cup, but when I have a choice, I grab the glass, right? You just try to make the better choices when you can. So plastics, number one.
So dyes.
Dyes. So yes, you're back to your
Terrible.
example with your fruity pebbles, right?
Yeah.
And so what else? Name some of the other foods that dyes are in that you can think of.
Oh, candy. So almost any candy. That's why soon we'll be doing a podcast where I will, not that candy's healthy, but we will give better options for candies and treats and snacks and that kind of thing. But so in candies, in cereals,
A lot of food preservatives will have some of those, even food preservatives, they can make even a color now and that, but
Oh, so
need the
like-
special dyes.
Well, even just using food coloring itself.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, so
that's,
many food dyes.
that's the thing. It's like, how natural a thing is it to go and make cookies and to add food coloring? I'm guilty of it, you know. So, yeah, dyes can be in so many different things. Drinks or juices.
Yeah,
It's in a lot.
absolutely. And what's crazy is being a formulator, we can create the colors and all that from natural ingredients. Right? We can get the best reds using beets and that help with nitric oxide. We can use turmeric and those things that are great herbs for the colors. So you can do it naturally. It's just easier to do it with chemicals because
And cheaper, right?
And a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And a lot cheaper.
Okay, so pesticides.
Pesticides are a big deal, and you hear a lot about that now, especially with TikTok and Instagram and stuff, where people are going, look at these fruits and that. You were just talking about it yesterday about the worst of the worst fruits,
Yeah,
right?
Strawberries.
And strawberries, it is easy for the pesticides and that to be on them because of the structure of it, right? The seed on the outside of the strawberries. But one thing about that is it is a major deal. Like it really is, right?
Is.
It's an endocrine disruptor.
So cleaning your fruits and vegetables is really important.
Super important. And a good way to do it is to use water. You can get a product like ours called OxyPure. It's these drops. Just put a few drops in it. Oxygenates, destroys it. You can use things like, you also have that one machine that you use.
Like an ionic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little machine, things like that. So there's all kinds of ways to do it. And even just soaking in water and then doing that one more time is great. But I want to make one point if I can, because we're talking about all these problems and stuff. And a lot of people are, okay, I'm not going to eat strawberries again because I heard on the podcast or, they saw this TikTok and all that. Look, the worst raw food, right, is better than the best processed food. In other words, eat fruits and vegetables. Okay, now we want to clean them as much as possible, but even the worst one is so much better than some processed Twinkie or junk like that. So let's not get caught up in it of like, oh, I can't drink water anymore because there's, problems with it, or eat fresh fruits and things like that. And water is the other one that.
And I think we get lost too in. I'm sorry. I think we get lost too in trying to bite off more than we can chew, or just take it a day at a time. Sometimes I think the best thing to do is look at the thing that's the biggest problem for you and work on that one before you ever try to do anything else.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, and because that leads to the next one, which is water.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, what's interesting is I had said something like that on my Instagram today, and somebody had commented because my point was, if you're drinking 3 or 4 sodas a day, let's start to cut that back. And she commented and said, that's what she does. She's done is since listening to the podcast. She's realized how much soda she drinks, and so now she has like 1 or 2 a week, where she used to be drinking 4 or 5 a day. So that's the goal, is to just improve. There's always another level, right?
Absolutely, always another level, and it can get demoralizing to realize when you get to a level that there's another level, and what do you do?
Then you go and eat some Fruity Pebbles.
There you go.
Better.
And so just those little baby steps. And I remember having a friend that was this athlete back in the days, way off, but I won't tell it anyways. Is he always had this goal to buy a Ferrari. And he went to buy a Ferrari. We're talking about levels. And he finally got to that point, got a bonus with the team and everything. And he went and bought his Ferrari. And he came back and we were laughing because he was upset. And we're like, what's your problem? You're all excited. You have this red Ferrari. Da, da, da. He said, well, I just learned that there's this other Ferrari. You can't buy it till you buy the first Ferrari. And then there's this and this and this and this. Like, there's all these levels. I thought this was the top of the food chain, right? And so here he has this Ferrari he had wanted since as a kid and was depressed because he realized that. So we got to find joy in the moment, making those little progressions and things. Absolutely. And so on water, and then we'll move on, is that this is near and dear to my heart because a lot of things happened about this time in my life that I was really big on teaching the importance of having clean water, and don't if you can, stay away from the water where they have this chemical fluoride in it, not the normal real good fluoride, but chemical fluoride is what they put in water that's really bad. And we have a lot of tests now that show that the city water has a lot of these chemicals because it's just everywhere and it's getting into the system. And so we do need to be careful. We do need to look at the water. But again, drink water. Like, drink water. Don't not drink water because all you have is a hose. Drink the dang water. But then And when you can, make healthier choices with your water, and just make sure it's filtered as well as possible. So those are a lot of the endocrine disruptors.
Preservatives, pharmaceutical-made chemicals, all of that goes into processed food.
Yeah. So if you're eating processed food, you're eating endocrine disruptors, I think is kind of what you're saying. And one last little thing on this, back to my rabbit hole.
I'm just going to sit back.
Okay, is that these companies, the processed food companies, pharmaceutical companies, everything that we talked about, are trying to really control all of that and try to get these hormone endocrine disruptors and everything. And so now, even with fresh fruits and vegetables, there's something on the market called Appeal, which is this chemical that they're putting on them to say it's helping preserve them, but it's actually endocrine disrupting chemicals that are on it. And so again, it comes back to washing your fruits and vegetables, doing the best you can, and it just happens to be a, Gates funded type situation. And so you can go as far down that hole as you want. But the bottom line is we are in contact with chemicals no matter what. That's the main point we're trying to make, is no matter what, we're in contact with chemicals that are endocrine disruptors, that basically will cause disease, be able to shorten your lifespan, make it so that you crave things that are unhealthy for you. And we come across them no matter what.
And we're
so
not
we've got to do something to cleanse the body of them.
Yeah, and we're not just talking about food that you eat, but also, cleansers that you use, makeup that you use, soaps that you use, deodorants that you.
Lotions.
So it's vast. So just start small.
Yep.
Okay.
So perfect.
Okay, so are we on to different types of cleanses?
Well, let's mention one more thing, because it's really in the same classification as endocrine disruptors, and I think we'll do an actual podcast on this, and they're called Obesogens. Obesogens are just chemicals that we know now cause weight gain, that make the body to where it has a hard time breaking down food and stores fat. And a lot of them are these endocrine disruptors, but there's some other things too. They're chemicals that promote obesity in humans or animals, is the exact definition of an obesogen. But there are things that we didn't even know existed. In fact, they probably didn't exist, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
There's these chemicals that are affecting the human body. Going back to that ghrelin, right? Going to that thing, just making it so that we're craving a lot more food than we should, and craving the wrong foods. And so they're real. And the best way to fix it is, one, try to look at foods that don't have excess chemicals in it and do the best we can, right? Glass instead of plastic, that type of thing. But we can't run from it. So we need to cleanse the body. So we've spent the majority of this podcast trying to help you understand you need to cleanse the body, that we're overriding the body's ability to naturally do it on its own all the time. So let's talk about how they can cleanse.
Okay, so number one, a full cleanse, been around for decades.
Been around for decades. Probably the most famous cleanse on the market. If you ask people or go to your grandparents or whatever, they'll say, oh yeah, I remember, we'd do these cleanses and we'd go buy Epsom salt, and we'd go buy our oils and grapefruit and would mix and match, and we'd do this thing for 3 or 4 days and do this big cleanse, right? And all the crazy stuff would come out. And that is a great cleanse. We've actually taken that and made it simpler. We call it the half-day cleanse, if you're wanting to check into it, or you can just Google online and look up cleansing, like the grapefruit cleanse and that, and you'll see, the recipes that are out there. But basically, that's a full cleanse. That's where you're actually putting things in the body. Magnesium sulfate is one thing that just goes through the body, right? And you're just forcing everything out. And you're putting the good fats in to try to come in and encase some of the toxins to get them out. It's a full cleanse, and it's a real deal.
It's pretty aggressive.
It's aggressive.
I would say that's kind of, if you're new to the cleansing world, I don't think I'd start there.
Yeah, the half-day cleanse or the full cleanse is in the two types of people that we don't start with is someone that's never done anything before, but also someone that's really sick.
Yes.
Because they'll detoxify too fast,
yes.
And they're already showing you that they have toxins, so we want to take it a little bit easier, and that leads more to what we call more of the soft cleanse.
Yeah.
And what's that?
The soft cleanse. It's just using like different herbs. So we have milk thistle, dandelion, barberry,
Yeah.
barberry, and then enzymes, and you do those between meals.
Yeah, that's one thing that's not talked about a lot that we're really big on is enzymes between meals. So the plant enzymes like protease, amylase, and you take them when you eat cooked or processed food. Refer you back to our talk on enzymes, our podcast, super important. But if you take those between meals, then the enzymes get in and help cleanse the blood and cleanse the system and cleanse undigested foods in the bowel. And the average person has 10 to 15 pounds of undigested food in the bowel
That
at
is
any
always
given
so
time.
mind-blowing to
And
me.
so it's pretty crazy. So those are, when we're talking about a soft cleanse, we're talking about giving the body the herbs and the nutrients to do that. And by far and away, the most popular and most research proven herb for cleansing, mainly for the liver, but it helps throughout the whole body, is milk thistle. Milk thistle helps cleanse the liver and the organs in the body. It just speeds up that process, gives it a little bit of oomph to be able to do it, and force things out a little bit at a faster rate with the toxins. And
I like it.
yeah, it's a big deal. So it's called a soft cleanse. We have a product at Optimal that's called Soft Cleanse, but we wanted to give you the herbs names and stuff
So
in case you
you
just want to
can
go out there and
seek those out,
just
yeah.
get them if you don't want to use any
You
of
don't
our
want to do
stuff.
that? Ours is actually called a soft cleanse. Okay.
Soft.
And then third is fasting.
Boom. Fasting. So fasting is very interesting because back, 10 years ago or so when they talk about fasting, everyone's like, oh, are you going to do a 24-hour
24-hour
fast?
fast? Yeah.
48-hour fast?
Yeah.
A week or whatever? And now I have a lot of people that will say fasting and they're like, oh, yeah, I do that every day. I do intermittent fasting. And that they're right. They'll go hours without it. But we're not talking about intermittent fasting where every day you have a window of time and that. Can it help? Sure. Anytime you go without food for 2 minutes, you're going to be doing a little bit of cleansing in the body, right? But we're talking about the research that shows to be able to get the body to where it's truly cleansing the organs, the kidneys, the liver, cleaning up the digestive tract, most importantly, cleaning up the blood. And to do that, it takes at least 24
hours. But also it means 0 calories, basically.
Mhm.
It means you're not taking in any proteins, carbs, or fats. It means you're drinking water, and you can also have some electrolytes. But
Right. Or micronutrients, right?
Micronutrients,
Electrolytes. So basically, remember, a macronutrient is a carb, protein, fat, or alcohol that has a lot of calories, right, per gram. And a micronutrient doesn't have calories. That's your vitamins, minerals, enzymes, probiotics. And so, as you mentioned, electrolytes are important. We'll get more into that. So let's talk, though, about the benefits of, we'll talk 3 fasts, okay, a 24-hour fast, 48-hour, and the 72-hour fast, and what some of the benefits are of each one.
yeah, and I would like to preface, if you are somebody that is interested in doing a longer fast, it's always great to talk to your health professional about that before you begin it, because it can be hard, and going without food isn't always the best thing for everyone. So definitely discussing it with your
Yeah, especially if you're
professional.
diabetic in that, you want to be able to take some precautions and stuff. But the fact is that if you do it right, doing a fast for any condition is beneficial. Even, diabetes, but it needs to be under the right supervision. So there's our disclaimer.
Yep, just your health professional. Anyways, so the 24-hour fast, it allows your body to initiate a cellular cleansing process called autophagy, which helps eliminate damaged cells and promote cellular renewal. The 24-hour fast, can also help regulate blood sugar levels and improve insulin sensitivity, and it can support weight management and overall metabolic health.
Absolutely.
That's your 24-hour.
And the 24-hour fast is a really phenomenal thing that if you look at and believe things, some old ancient writings, right, in the Bible and stuff like that, it's even talked about a lot there of the benefit of a lot of fasting, right, multiple day fasting, but especially the 24-hour fast, because that's the time frame that is the minimum time frame really to get that cleansing benefits that you're talking about. Like that's it. And it does allow your body to reset and start the cell autophagy, right? The ability for the cell to cleanse. And we hear of that a lot because of intermittent fasting, although intermittent fasting doesn't really give you true cell autophagy at the level that is beneficial, like we're talking about, of overall cleanse. But maybe mention what autophagy, cell autophagy is, like the breakdown of it, and then we'll get to the 48-hour.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So in your body, you have the white blood cells, and their job is to clean things up. And when we look at live blood, we see the white blood cells, and it's the coolest thing in the world, is you see the white blood cells go and start eating things, right, that are in the
Pac-Man.
bloodstream. and like Pac-Man. And it's called phagocytosis. Well, you have this white blood cell going and taking and digesting, going through cytosis, breaking down other things. So phagocytosis, right? And so cell autophagy is where the cell is cleansing, getting all the junk broken down and cleaned out, just like how the white blood cell goes and cleans the blood up. And so cell autophagy is really important to clean house, to really get things going. It's like detailing your car, and that's why we talk about the importance of it. And it starts really well at a 24-hour fast. You start getting that going, but it's kind of like going in doing a quick little cleaning and getting out. It's good for you, but it's not that really extreme deep type cleanse that's possible.
Okay, so moving on to the 24-hour fast.
48-hour.
Sorry, 48-hour. So there's even more benefits. During the second day of fasting, your body goes into a state of ketosis, where it starts using stored fat for energy. This can lead to increased mental clarity and focus. It also enhances the production of growth hormone. We love that. Helps with tissue repair, muscle growth, and even anti-aging.
Absolutely.
So, and when we're talking about these fasts, we're talking about drinking at least a minimum of 100 ounces of water daily.
That's a really good point. That's critical.
Yeah, it's
right?
critical.
Because you can't cleanse without water.
Yeah, and here's the deal. You can go without food for a long time. Your body needs water. So, when we're talking about fasting, don't eliminate water. Water's your friend here.
Yeah, 100 ounces, as you mentioned, is really critical. So let's kind of hang on the 48-hour for a second. We talk about the body going into ketosis, and I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of ketosis. It's an actual condition, but it's okay to get there for a short period of time to where you give the body a reset, right? It gives the body to say, hey, we're not having to focus so much right now on glucose metabolism. We can, take a break. It's like kind of a cleansing for a second that happens with the 48-hour fast, and we get into it a little bit to be able to just, reset, boom. Your body can take a look at how it's digesting nutrients and creating energy, and relax from that for a minute and then get back into it again. So the 48-hour fast really, in my opinion, is the fast that really starts making the change to where, wow, I felt really different afterwards. When a 24-hour fast, you're like, oh, that was good for me.
That.
And you might feel a little different, but you don't feel this extreme benefit that you start feeling from the 48-hour fast. And I think part of that has to do with the growth hormone benefit, that you start getting a little bit of the growth hormone in the system. I'll talk more about that when we're talking about the 72-hour fast.
Okay, cool. I'm trying to find something that I want to mention with fasts over here, so I'm multitasking.
Okay.
Okay, so now the 72-hour, the crown jewel, Doug calls it.
It's because we were in London, the crown jewel.
Okay, so what's cool is that, when you talk about the 24-hour fast, you get all of these benefits, then 48 hours. Well, you just keep adding the benefits. You get all the benefits of those plus some. So,
compound interest.
Yep, compound. So beyond the benefits of all the previous, you get a surge in the growth hormone release.
I think that's the difference, is you get some growth hormone benefits in the 40-hour, but you get this surge. And that word is really important because you get this huge influx of growth hormone that keeps the body anabolic. So what happens is once you hit to a point over in the 48-hour time frame, that your body will start to go catabolic. Remember, catabolism is when the body eats itself, right? If we chopped up Hilary and ate her, we'd be cannibals. Cannibalism, but the body eats itself. It's catabolism. And so our body's going to start wanting to go to catabolism, and it says, no, that's not good. And so it releases all this growth hormone. And many times it's the first time growth hormone's been released for a while, and it's like, whoa, I can make growth hormone. And it stimulates the body to, hey, we can make more growth hormone, and that's beneficial, and it helps you burn more fat and gives you more energy and clarity. So the 72-hour fast creates that. What a lot of people take drugs for, the 72-hour fast creates, because it makes it so that you have that surge of growth hormone. What's some of the other benefits?
So it promotes tissue regeneration, supports a healthy immune system, aids in the repair of organs and bones. This fast also helps to reset and optimize your hormones, with many people getting dramatic increase in energy and added testosterone boost and balance. What's very interesting, this one is also, is it dopamine? What is this one really great for? Resetting dopamine, I think?
Dopamine and serotonin.
Receptors?
Yep.
So what's crazy is that the first time that I did a 3-day fast, I had told you it almost felt like an electrical current. Is the only way that I could explain it, going to my brain, like almost like I legit felt a reset.
Absolutely. And oxytocin's another factor with that. But let's go on talking about the 72-hour fast. I think it's important to stay on that testosterone comment that you made right there. Because if you look at the research shows that when you do a 72-hour fast, that your testosterone levels are going down toward the end of the fast, but then after the fast, they shoot up higher than before, sometimes 40, 50%
Wow.
higher, and then will balance down usually at a higher level than when you started.
Okay.
So it's really neat because your body kind of goes, oh, heck, we better boost that testosterone. But then it's like, yeah, we do need this, and we can produce testosterone more. And remember, men and women, we have the lowest levels of testosterone right now than ever in recorded history. And so people always talk about, going on TRT and doing all these things and the pellets and all that stuff. And we mentioned that in a previous podcast. But really, the cheapest and one of the most effective ways to boost testosterone and balance it is a 72-hour fast.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's free.
Absolutely. Free. It's for me.
You're
Okay.
saving money. Okay, so
Let's
great
talk-
tools to improve health.
Let's
right?
talk about the things to do while you're on a fast that we have found and research has proven that's critical. So if you ever do a fast, 24, 48, or 72, especially 48 or 72, first one you mentioned was water, super important. And then also you mentioned electrolytes, right? So taking electrolytes, we really don't need them on the 24-hour fast very much. But 48 and 72, taking electrolytes, and you kind of like taking them out when you feel that slump, right, through
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
And so just mix it
Well,
with
and
your water.
I'm still maintaining a pretty decent workout schedule through that, so I like to kind of take it around that time as well.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. And so the electrolytes, when you take in, the sodium, potassium, magnesium, when you're on a fast, what it does is, remember, these are electrical minerals, electrolytes, and one of their jobs is to be able to help get nutrients in and out of the cells, nutrients in, toxins out, that type thing. And so if the body's cleansed, you're going through cell autophagy and you have those electrolytes present, they can go in and do a lot of work and help the body cleanse at a faster rate. So that's why a lot of people know they're supposed to take them, they don't know why. It's because it's helping the cells cleanse through the electrical minerals.
Cool. Yeah, that's good to know. Also, I do want to make a point that when you're going into these longer fasts as a woman, it is really important that you do it at the right time of the month because of the complex hormones that women deal with. So
when is the right time?
So from everything that I've read, and do your research, look it up, from everything that I've read, from the start of your cycle into 10 days is probably the best time to do a longer fast.
So the first 10 days.
First 10 days of your cycle. Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's really important, and you can think about and realize why that would be good. But if you really want to feel the benefits, I know you've done multiple 72-hour cleanses, and the best one was when you did it at that time frame.
For
right?
sure. The time that I felt the best was when I think it was on day 2 of my cycle. That's the time that I feel like I got the best benefit from it and felt like it did the most for my hormones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So doing it at the right time for women. So water, electrolytes, and then here's one that's not talked about a lot that we're really big fans of during cleanses, and that's probiotics. Taking your probiotics, because you'll want to be able to restore your flora in your gut as your body's cleansing. And as you do it at the same time as your body's cleansing out all the toxins, you're going to get this tremendous benefit of, again, the serotonin and dopamine, but of cravings. And that's a big factor with it.
And I feel like when you are ready to break your fast, for me, the best thing that I found is breaking it with some really great fermented food before I eat whatever it is that I'm going to eat, which I also know that different people say like bone broth and that kind of thing are really good after. I prefer not to do that, but something easy on the stomach is a good idea, some broth of some type. But I like to break mine with some sauerkraut, and the last time I did sauerkraut and beets, and some kombucha.
Absolutely. So let's break down the fast, the end of fast thing or during it. with the right nutrients. So when you're doing your fast, let's go through, first of all, drink at least 100 ounces of water, right? Take electrolytes. Okay, once a day is usually good on a 48 hour, and then also each day, like the third day on the 72 hour. Probiotics.
What is the brand? There's a brand, and they have little single servings.
Oh, just real soon. And so just find one that all it is the electrolytes. And I like to have the magnesium from it's called a bisglycinate. It's a form of magnesium that gets into the body, the organic, the best. And there's different good brands that are out there and stuff, LMNT, different things like that, right?
Yeah.
And so, again, water, electrolytes, right? Probiotics are critical in the body. And then one thing we didn't mention was glutathione.
Oh, okay.
And it's a body's master antioxidant. We're a big fan of that because, again, you're giving the body the antioxidants to help keep the cells strong, the thickness of the cell and their health. You're getting the electrolyte minerals, you're getting the probiotics, and the water. So now we've hit all of those things. And then when we break the fast, back to what you just said, if you can get a fermented food in there when you're breaking the fast and have more bland food for the first few meals, you're much better off. So your sauerkraut that you're great at, kombucha, you get kimchi, something that is a fermented food, or take at least more probiotics with it.
Yep, for sure. And then also consult your health professional before any extended fast. And I would also recommend, if you've never fasted before, starting with a 24-hour fast is a great idea. Most of us, or I know a lot of people that think they've fasted for 24 hours when in reality they've maybe fasted through 2 or 3 meals in like a 12-hour period. A true 24-hour fast, if you've never done one, will enlighten you.
Absolutely.
So starting there is a great idea. How often do we recommend fasting?
That's great. So if you're going to do a 24-hour fast once a month, the research is really strong on that once a month, a 24-hour fast is great for the body. And so just take it from there. A 48-hour fast, to do a 48-hour fast every 2 to 3 months would be great if you're a 48-hour faster. 72-hour fast once a quarter. Some people do it more often, but once a quarter is a good amount. So basically, let's say, what is the minimum? Everyone should do at least one of those types of fasts. A 72-hour fast every 3 to 4 months, a 48-hour fast every couple months, or a 24-hour fast once a month. And personally, if I had like the ultimate world and you're a client and said, what should I do? Then I believe that and the research shows you do a 24-hour fast once a month. Absolutely, you should do. And then you should do a 72-hour fast every 3 to 4 months, depending on your lifestyle or you're around different chemicals and stuff. And that is a great way to be able to keep your body functioning at a higher level, being able to keep cell autophagy, have your chemicals, hormones balanced, and be able to make it. Because remember, we have this problem nowadays of endocrine disruptors, obesogens. We can't get away from it. It's the accumulation factor. And our bodies, even though they were built to be cleansing machines, it's just too much.
It's too much. That's it.
So thanks so much. Let us know your comments about these things, or especially even if people, I know a lot of people talk to us about, wow, it's so weird that I feel so much different now since the pandemic, or nowadays, even the last decade, how come I feel like the toxins are just so much more prevalent, and I'm just not the same? And you're right, it's out there. Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us on the FitFam podcast. Again, this is Miss Natural Olympia Hilary.
And this is Doug, the formula.
A great one. Always remember, keep chewing. Catch you next time.